This is more awkward than I thought. Okay, so I'm too awkward to do an actual intro, so I'm just going to show you how I do my everyday makeup. Okay. How do I do my makeup? I've already forgotten. So if I've learned anything from watching YouTube videos of how to do makeup, it's that the number one rule is to blend, blend, blend. So you need a blending brush like this. They come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. That's not a blending brush. There you go. So the first thing, I always start with my eyes first because I cannot stand when you do your foundation and then it all gets on your cheeks and then you have to redo your foundation anyway, so why not just start with your eyes? The main palette I'm going to be using today is the Morphe 35O. Can we talk about it? If this doesn't say fall, I don't know what does. But it also has a lot of basic colors, so it makes any look easy. The first thing I do is I like to mix colors because it makes it easier. The main thing that you need to do is just find colors that are similar to your skin tone. I like warm looks, so I'm going to be doing more of orange tones, brown and orange, but you could also do brown and gray if you're more cool toned. So for me, when I do it, I start off with this color right here, this color, and sometimes I add in this color if I want to be extra warm. So you just dip your brush in all of those and then you tap it off because you don't want so much on the brush at once. And then you just blend. When you have brushes like this, it makes it easy to blend because it's so fluffy that it just does it itself. I like to switch back and forth between my eyes to make sure that each are the same. If you do one eye at a time, that gets too stressful. And I usually start off by highlighting under my brow first, but because the camera was on, I was nervous and forgot, so I'm going to do that really quick. I am using Makeup Geek Shimma Shimma. It's just a perfect, like, beigey, white, highlight color. I don't know if you can tell the true color of it. There you go. And I just use my finger because it makes it easier. And just put that under your brow. It's okay if it looks sloppy because you're going to blend over it. And then just blend, blend, blend. I also haven't added any more product. I'm just blending what's already on my eyes. I also like to go ahead and put it on my inner corner, just so I don't forget. I'm saying so much and I cannot handle it. Stop saying So to highlight my inner corner, I just get some on my finger and put it. It's okay if it looks messy. You just put it in the center or in the corner. I always go back and touch it up, but I just like to know that it's already there just in case I forget later. Okay. And then just blend some more because why not? So next you want to add a little bit darker of a color. I typically add this color here, and sometimes I mix in this color here. And to do this, I take a smaller blending brush. It's just not as fluffy as this one. That way it gets more precise. With the darker color, you want to concentrate it lower down on your crease. You don't want it as high as the top one. So I'm just going to get some of that color. I think I am going to go ahead and add a tiny bit of orange. Tap it off. And then concentrate on the outside of your eye first. And then bring it in. Okay, so now I like to add a neutral shade onto my eyelid. I think I'm going to use, let's see, this color and then mix in a little bit of this color just to deepen it up a little bit. It's a very, I don't know if you can tell, but it's very red toned. It's not picking it up. That's okay. So how I do it, I just use my finger. Makes it easier for me. I put in this and then add a little bit of the darker color and then add a little bit more of the light color on top of it and then just push it onto your eyelid. And you want to stay under your crease because you've already put color there, so there's no need to put it on top of your crease. Now that you have your lid color, I always go back and blend some more just because, again, there's no additional product. I just blend it out. Some days I decide to add eyeliner and some days I don't. Today I'm going to just because so I can show you how I typically do it. I've gone through a lot of phases where I like dark black eyeliner, light brown eyeliner, and now I'm in a phase where I like black eyeliner but only to the middle of my eye. I think it opens your eye up a little bit. So I'm just going to show you how I do that. Maybe. I like to take it out a little bit but not so where you can, it's like a full wing. And then I stop as I get to the center of my eye. You're not really supposed to pull on your eyes, but I do anyways. I don't really need to curl my lashes, but I do anyways just to add an extra bit of curl. And I also like to use a bunch of different mascaras. My favorites are, that's probably upside down. My favorites are Voluminous, Miss Nanga by CoverGirl maybe? L'Oreal. Benefit, they're real. I like these smaller versions because they don't dry out as fast and they're cheaper. And then I also use Better Than Sex by Too Faced. And combine them all. I always start with Miss Manga just because it's the cheaper one, so I like to use most of that, and then I use the high-end ones to kind of amp up my lashes even more. There's the first layer. And then I usually let it dry for just a minute, and I also use this time to use this on my face. The Benefit Professional. I don't really need it as a primer, but it does shrink your pores right in here, and it helps your foundation stay on longer, so I always add it. Please ignore this. I like to pick up my face, and this is the aftermath of it, so just don't talk about it. So is this. Don't talk about it either. I usually get about this much and then split it between both my fingers. Actually, I think that's too much. And just rub it on my face. You definitely don't need primer. It's not a necessity. I just like to use it because it makes my makeup last a little bit longer and look a little bit better. You really only need it in the center of your face too. There's no need for it on the outside of your face. It's just a waste of product if you do that. I use a Q-tip when I need to get stuff off underneath my eyes. I just run it along. I probably should have done this before primer, but oh well. And you probably don't even need to do this since you're going to put foundation and stuff on top. but I like to anyways. Okay, now for another layer of mascara. This one has really hard bristles, so it really can comb in between your lashes, and it really helps spread them out. I don't know if you can tell the difference, but I can. There. The good thing about this one is it has a comb on the end, like a little ball tip, so it makes getting right here a lot easier. Okay, lashes done. Now I go in with foundation. It is finally starting to be where I can't lay out anymore. I'm probably going to a few more times. But I'm starting to be not as tan as I normally am, which is sad because this has been my normal foundation. And now I'm going to have to mix in this really light foundation. But that's a good thing about foundation is you can always mix them. So if you have one that's too dark and one that's too light, you can just mix them and make the perfect color for you. So I typically add 2.5 pumps of this one, and then about 1 pump of the lighter one, and then I mix them. That. And then I use a beauty blender. It just shears it out so that it's not so thick. And just take whatever is left on the end of that and put it in the middle and dip in. Why are you crawling in the background? Oh. Okay, so I had to stop for a minute because my cat decided to go crazy on Tyler. So we're back. I am blending foundation under my chin onto my neck because nobody wants that line. Next, I use concealer. Again, I'm in between shades because I'm starting to not be tan anymore. These are the Maybelline Fitments. I have mine in Sand and Light. The foundations I used today were CoverGirl 3-in-1 Outlast in Golden Tan and Nude Beige. So with Sand, just going to, this is not necessary to do every day, but I like to, so I do what I want. Just take it. And then, because that's just a tiny bit too dark, add a little bit of the light in. And then blend it out. I'm using the pointy end of the Beauty Blender. Well, it's not an actual Beauty Blender, it's the Real Techniques sponge, but it does the same thing. It's like $7 maybe. So that just brightens up under your eyes, and then to make your whole face even, so you don't have like harsh highlight under your eyes and nowhere else, you want to go in and add some on your forehead, down your nose, above your lip, and then a little on your chin. And then with the light, I'm just going to do the same thing, but not very much. And then blend that out. And the sponge is damp, by the way, it's not dry. It also works better if you pat instead of swipe. Now I'm going to do my eyebrows. Everyone on YouTube is like obsessed with their eyebrows, and I honestly don't know how to do them very well. I just fill them in a little bit. Because I have blonde hair, if I don't fill them in, then it comes back in pictures as if I don't have eyebrows. So what I do is just take a pencil. This is just the Wet n Wild taupe. It was probably $1. I just fill in my eyebrows. I don't go anything out of the line. I just go in where all the hair already is and kind of darken it a little bit. you can definitely tell the difference. But I definitely don't do anything fancy because I just don't know how. To set under my eyes, I use the Wet n Wild Cover All. I set it with this brush. It's just a flat blush brush from e.l.f. I also like to set my forehead everywhere that you've put the concealer. And then with Maybelline Fit Me powder, I have mine in Natural Buff, and it's the for normal to dry skin kind. I take a giant e.l.f. brush. It's the e.l.f. I think it's the Kabuki. It's rubbed off. Just get some product and then put it on my face. The reason that I set my foundation every day, again, you don't have to do this, but it makes contouring easier. It makes the product glide on your face more smoothly if it's already powder down. So you don't have to use much. It just helps it blend and work better. I also like to set the foundation I put on my neck, just, I don't know, because I feel like it helps it last longer. That's all. Done. Now to contour, you definitely don't need to go out and buy this. This is my first high-end purchase. It's the Too Faced, oh, it's crooked. It's the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer. To contour, all you need is a matte bronzer. If you want to use a bronzer from the drugstore, I'm sure there's good ones, but another thing that you could do is use a powder that is just a couple, like 3 shades darker than your skin tone. That works as well. But since I went out and purchased this, this is what I like to use. So just pick a little bit of product up, tap it. I always tap off my products. And then, we'll move out of the way here. You can see my cheekbones, so it makes it easier for me, but if you cannot, a good thing to do is just suck in like that, and you'll be able to see it better. I don't have to do that. So you just draw a line in the contour of your cheek. I always put the product down first and then go back and blend it. And then you want to also put it on your forehead just to even it out like we did the highlighter or the concealer. It wasn't actually highlighter. And then across the top of your forehead. So now I go and blend it out a little bit. After I do my foundation, I like to do underneath my eyes. I don't like to do it before because sometimes I like to blend it out and it just doesn't work if you do it before. So I'm going to use, it's from a brand called Jelly Pong Pong. I got it in an Ipsy bag or BoxyCharm, one of those. And it's just a shadow liner stick. And then I just run it underneath my eyes. Like that. It just adds a little bit of definition. It doesn't add much. I don't have any additional product on it. And then I like to take a highlighter. This is Smooth Shadow by Elizabeth Mott. Again, another Ipsy bag or BoxyCharm. One of those. I like BoxyCharm and Ipsy. I've had it for about a year now. Ipsy maybe a year and a half, and so much of my makeup has come from them. I just use this to strengthen the highlight of my inner corner. And I usually take it about 1/3 of the way in on the bottom to meet up with that dark spot. I don't put dark all the way under my eyes. It closes up your eyes. And I like to have mine open. And then last thing, I take my Benefit They're Real. This is a older version of it. So it doesn't have near as much product in it, so it's not as strong. Again, there's that. I have to get close. I just run that on my lashes. So that's pretty much it. I'll usually go back in, and now is when I add my Better Than Sex mascara to my top lashes, just to really amp them up. I don't know if you can tell a difference or not. And then for lipstick, if I'm just not really doing anything, I like to add just a nude lipstick. This is the Bare Minerals Marvelous Moxie Get Ready. Looks like this. I got a mini version in my Ipsy bag. This one I know it was from Ipsy. And I was so in love with it that I had to go out and buy the real version of it. So I just throw that on. If I was doing something big, I would put lip liner on and all that jazz. But I'm not. I'm just gonna go eat Mexican with my mom. Party at Mexican. And that is it. So I'll show you the eyes. The cheeks, you can see the highlight for sure. And that's it. You are done. Since this is my first video, how exciting. I also filmed another video, but it's not as good of quality, so I'm gonna upload this one first. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want anything different, if you want me to explain things more. I plan to do all kinds of videos. I think I'm gonna do a video where Tyler does my makeup, and on his, I think I'm gonna do, I'm looking at him. And on his, I think I'm going to do his makeup. Maybe. That's just something we're thinking of. Also, I know my sister wants to film videos too, so we might do a couple fun tags. All kinds of stuff. So let me know if you want to see anything. I know some people just want to learn how to do makeup, and that's fine. I can go into more depth. This is just kind of showing you how I do my everyday makeup. I've been to a lot of concerts recently. I've been to 2 concerts recently, and I've gotten to do fun makeup for those. And then I'm going to see Kevin Hart with my sister on Friday, which by the time this is up might have already happened. But I'll probably film my makeup for that as well, and that'll be a little bit more dramatic, so we'll have to see. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye!